Okay, I remember. Well, I wanted to tell you guys a little story. But to tell that story, I think I'm gonna need a volunteer. And first, for my volunteer, I was thinking I would pick Rosie, but then I'm not gonna pick Rosie. For my second volunteer, I was thinking about picking Jenny. But I'm not going to pick a volunteer. I think I'll just get straight into my story. So, one day my dad was at the market, and he was picking out flowers for my mom. It was her birthday, and he really wanted to get her some nice flowers to make her day. So, while he was at the market, this man came up to him, and he started to get really, really, really close to him. My dad didn't know what to do, so he just kept picking on his flowers and just kept doing his thing. But the man wouldn't go away, and my dad didn't exactly know what he wanted at this point. He was closer and closer and closer. Soon he was practically breathing on him. My dad figured that he probably wanted to get to the flowers too, but he didn't want to move just because the man was clearly pressuring him to. So he knew that the man would do something else to get his way. The man didn't say a thing. He just cleared his throat and gave him a nudge on the side of my arm, on his arm. My dad knew then that the man was trying to get to the flowers, so he moved. There's no punchline to my story. It wasn't supposed to make you laugh or cry, but this simply leads me into the theme of my talk, which is kinesics, also known as nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is so important in everyday life. Nonverbal communication is as simple as body language, proxemics, the distance between two people as I demonstrated, paralanguage, which is the words that or sounds that you make without actually speaking words, and facial expression. As you can tell, before I started my talk, I moved in a way that gave you the impression that I forgot my lines or I was vulnerable. Next, I completely changed to show that by holding myself another way, I could have a different impact on my audience. Because when I approached my volunteers, my stance was dominant, and it was invading somebody's personal space. This causes them to counteract and get nervous and close up. The man in my dad's story used body language, proxemics, and paralanguage to tell him what he wanted without really telling him with words. That being said, we can decode someone's body language, facial expression, and even tone of voice to get an idea of what this person is like or how they are feeling. For example, say I would say, hey, or I would say, hey. They have two different tones, therefore they have two different meanings. However, my question about nonverbal communication was how are we able to decode someone's body language or facial expression to know how they are thinking or what they are feeling? Well, through my research, I found that the abilities to pick up nonverbal cues rest in different areas of the brain. The first part of the brain, called the amygdala, detects various intensities of social information. This is the part of the brain that determines whether you can trust someone or something. For example, there are some people you would trust, like this lawyer, and others you wouldn't. The second part of the brain, the superior temporal sulcus, is activated when we or those around us show motion. This picks up on physical cues. For example, you can probably tell how this person is feeling, and you can also probably tell how this person is feeling. The girl in the first picture is closed up, showing that she's not willing to communicate with others, and her head is down, showing that she's sad. The girl in the second picture, however, is opening her arms in a wide V, showing that she is open to communication and is happy or proud. The third part of the brain, called the fusiform gyrus, recognizes faces. When you were a child, this is what enabled you to distinguish the faces of your parents from the faces of strangers. A study by Dr. Albert Moravian showed that of all types of communication, 93% is nonverbal and only 7% is actually verbal. This study shows that the ability to sense nonverbal communication is not only necessary, but a crucial aspect to communicating. The ability to decode emotion in nonverbal communication is very important. In fact, it can also be significant in social and academic realms. A study with 456 elementary students measured their abilities to decode nonverbal communication. They were given a test, and the higher they did on the better they did on the test, the more likely they were to be popular and have higher academic achievement. Nonverbal communication does so much for us in our daily lives. It can be the foundation for building relationships and even what allows us to trust another person. So I hope that throughout my talk you learned a little bit more about the importance of body language and the incredible impact we have on others with it. I hope to have set the idea in you that it is what you don't say that counts. Thank you.